It actually is so good. Fire.
So it's been a year now since DanTDM called out Lunchly and set the internet on fire. And looking back, it turns out that Dan was right about everything. So some of you might remember the whole Lunchly drama, but in case you haven't, I'll give you a quick recap. Basically, in September 2024, Logan Paul, KSI and MrBeast teamed up to launch their new product, Lunchly, which was essentially a ripoff of Lunchables, everyone's favorite lunch tray when you were in the 3rd grade. The big difference between Lunchly and Lunchables was that Lunchly had explosive marketing and the star power of MrBeast, KSI and Logan Paul behind it, and they relentlessly pushed the message that this was a healthier alternative to Lunchables.
Turkey stack 'em, 310 calories.
230 calories.
21 grams of sugar.
Only 7 grams of sugar.
If you look at this close up, you can already tell which one has better ingredients. All right, we'll start off with the Lunchables.
Bro, I'm sorry, that's trash. All right, now we're trying Lunchly. Come on. We're not biased at all, but ours is way better.
So the whole timing of the launch of Lunchly was a disaster from the beginning, because they launched this in the middle of a bunch of controversy that MrBeast was in at the time, with his best friend Chris Tyson having been discovered talking to minors in inappropriate ways, and even allegations against MrBeast himself about treatment of contestants in his videos, and there was just so much drama. But nonetheless, MrBeast, Logan Paul and KSI could smell the dollar signs in the air, so they relentlessly marketed this thing. They were so desperate to sell this product that Logan Paul even used the birth of his child to promote it.
And of course, we have our snacks and our energy drink, none other than the greatest meals in the world. Lunchly, of course, we have the turkey, cheese, and cracker stack. Also the Fiesta Nachos, my personal favorite.
Love.
Maybe I should show her to the world, bro. Here's our baby, brand new to the world. Here we go.
Lunchly is now in stores.
I guess we can't be surprised at any level of shamelessness with Logan Paul, but the point is these guys used any opportunity to promote Lunchly, and YouTube was flooded with taste tests and ingredient comparisons and YouTube shorts.
Lunchly versus Lunchables.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Whoa.
Feastables Crunch Bar. Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese.
So the real cheese was a big selling point for the product. They bragged about the real cheese like it was the second coming of Christ. And comically, it all fell apart within days because that healthy real cheese turned out to be moldy when people bought Lunchly. Multiple people discovered their real cheese caked in mold. So that's not just a little bit of mold. There was a whole ecosystem growing there. And it turns out that DanTDM was the only one that saw this whole disaster coming from the beginning. Because when it launched, he would tweet, "What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them do better." So this set the internet on fire because DanTDM, he's a big YouTuber, and he exposed what was always there in plain sight. This was a simple money grab from big YouTubers who were already filthy rich. It was not launched to help their fans, and it certainly wasn't healthy. It was all to do with greed and filling their already overflowing bank accounts. But KSI, Logan Paul, and MrBeast knew that a large part of their audience were kids. So with enough flashy marketing, you can sell them anything. So DanTDM literally made this one post and then he went silent. But since MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI could see that their profits were at risk, they had a complete meltdown. Like, they absolutely lost their minds. KSI, the loudest and biggest man-child of the three, was of course the first to go off on DanTDM for exposing the truth.
Looks like crap to me, while showing his toys that he sold to kids. How does this benefit your fans, Dan? Now, obviously, people didn't realize that I was shining a mirror in his face. Instead, they were like,
Wait, you did the same as Dan. You made toys with Tube Heroes.
and yes, that's fair, but I'm not the one complaining.
Well, okay then. He was talking about food, not merchandise and toys.
And I'm like, okay. He was sponsored, then promoted, and made a whole video on Munch Pack. a monthly sub box full of food and candy to his Minecraft audience full of kids. Now what? At this point, his fans imploded. Self-combustion occurred on Twitter. And they just didn't know how to react. They kept moving the goalposts and being like,
Oh, well, Dan only did this once. He's only made a video once about sweeties to his audience, so you're wrong.
Man, that voice changer was so annoying. So KSI would actually go on to put out a tweet quoting one of Dan's old posts with his old kids' toys, saying looks like crap to me. So KSI, he thought this was his big gotcha moment, but it wasn't as big as that forehead. So unsurprisingly, the internet didn't buy it at all, because you can't compare selling toys that are related to your channel to selling processed trash to kids that doesn't have anything to do with your channel and is just all about money. And the crazy thing was, DanTDM didn't even have to reply, because the internet replied for him. People were dunking on KSI and bringing up old posts showing that he too sold his own toys, exposing the hypocrisy. It hit a peak when even Jacksepticeye weighed in and said, you mess with DanTDM, you mess with YouTube. So at this point, Logan Paul jumped in as well, and his whole response video to Dan was just him marketing Lunchly. Like, I swear these guys are just walking advertisements.
Imagine being a motherfucker who's angry that we made this. Crackers, bro? You mad cause we made crackers? This is what you're mad about? Bruh. It's a turkey, real cheese, and cracker stack. And by the way, it's great.
Yeah, no one wants to see that real moldy cheese, bro. So Logan would actually also put out a low IQ tweet. I'll tell you what happened to YouTubers. We spent our lives creating content and building our brands. Now we want to build businesses. You don't say anything when Lunchables faces bans for allegedly containing lead, but when we create a better version, you're upset. Then don't eat it. Well, I'm not gonna eat it. I don't want to eat that moldy real cheese. And it's just super rich. Logan Paul talking about better versions and businesses. It's just insane. This is the guy that launched CryptoZoo, which was marketed as a fun game that will make you money, but all of his fans that invested in it lost all of their money, which was millions of dollars. There were people who invested their whole life savings in CryptoZoo and lost it all, which I don't know why you would do something like that, but it is what it is. So the funniest part of the whole Lunchly saga was Logan Paul beefing with community notes.
But yeah, community notes lies. I had a sports MD doctor on one of my tweets. Lie.
Why lie for?
But I'm like, bro, it's not sodium. It's the 400 milligrams of electrolytes that we mentioned in the drink. And I had to correct him. I was like, bro, you're a sports medicine doctor. How you can't read? Here we are like peons trying to rationalize with a community notes. That's not like a person. That's not an entity. It's just a group of haters who somehow have the ability to comment on whether or not things are true, but they lie. Help me understand.
Man, that was hilarious to watch at the time. So unsurprisingly, all the controversy around Lunchly, from moldy real cheese to even Dr. Mike exposing that it actually wasn't healthy, this all took a toll on the brand. The flashy marketing dried up, the Twitter account went silent, the YouTube shorts stopped being posted, and Lunchly disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, buried and forgotten from the internet. Because DanTDM, he wasn't looking for beef or drama. He just called out a blatant money grab that everyone could see and the exploitation of their fans. And KSI and Logan Paul's giant egos just couldn't handle the truth because they were imagining all that money going bye-bye. Lunchly wasn't healthy, Prime was not for hydration, but it did have a bunch of forever chemicals in it, and not to mention Feastables quietly changing their recipe to make it less healthy and cheaper. In the end, the rise and fall of Lunchly shows that you can't sell a bad product on flashy marketing and star power alone. You actually need to provide value, and that's why Lunchly disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, and DanTDM saw it all coming and called it out. He didn't attack them personally, he just didn't want to see kids fooled into buying a bad quality money grab.
And maybe with the Lunchly stuff as well, that's probably a similar thing. I was like, this is going too far.
Yeah.
You can push it to a point, and Logan should really know that if you push something to a point, like you're going to go too far.